And welcome into another edition of High School Roundup here on CUTV. I'm your host, Anthony D'Agostino, and alongside me today is the dynamic duo of Danny Beck and Stephen Ruffing. And guys, it was a great week of football. Really big upsets in this week as well.
Yeah, it was surprising. The game that we covered was, I think, just blew everybody out of proportion. It was definitely a crazy game.
Yeah, I know we're going to get to it later, but yeah, my pick'em's totally done. Yeah, I did so bad this week, just because of all this. Yeah.
6 people went 2-4. You'll have to stay tuned and find out who did that badly. One of them is yours truly.
Yeah,
and I was in first
I think
place.
all three of us.
All three of us.
I'm pretty sure all three of us did.
Everybody.
As we're going to go right into it here, we're going to start with CUTV's Game of the Week. We went to Ringgold for Ringgold's homecoming. They took on their arch rival, Bell Vernon, in a Big 9 conference game. And Danny, you had these highlights from this outrageous game.
Yeah, I do. And as you were saying, outrageous is kind of like a smaller word that you can use for it. It was crazy. We all thought that Ringgold had this one. But let's just get right into the highlights. And both these uniforms kind of look like it was the St. Louis Rams taking on the Colorado State Rams. So they kind of looked really weird, but it was definitely cool. Bell Vernon stopped the Rams and finished off their first drive with a field goal, making the score 3-0. And the very next drive, though, as you can see on your screen here, Bell Vernon got back on the board with Nick Hall bursting through the line and extending their lead now to 10-0, a surprising turn of events. And Bell Vernon didn't take their foot off the pedal either, with Mike Fine finding a bullet pass to Logan Frogner, making the score 17-0 all over the Ringgold. And watch this play here, guys. Kind of looks like his inner Russell Wilson, kind of shaking off some defenders, making his way up the field, and he gets into the end zone, it looks like, but there's a flag on the play, and that's going to pull them back a little bit. So unfortunately, Ringgold doesn't get any points there, and Nick Hall is going to get back into the end zone here with a 3-yard rush around the outside, making the score 24, and Ringgold actually put up 3 on that drive in that last play. So as you can see here now, Mike Fine finds Derek Sosovsky on a huge play, sprinting down the field to it into the end zone. The 53-yard pass, ending the score for Bell Vernon. And Ringgold now with just one little desperation shot here. George Martin finds his target deep in the end zone, gets in, and it was all Bell Vernon in this one, a game that came as a surprise to all of us down here, as we were saying, with the exception of some lucky individuals who decided to pick Bell Vernon. And Bell Vernon came away with a score of 31-10.
And this Bell Vernon team is for real. They're 3-0, Ringgold 2-1, but just the way Bell Vernon held themselves to the entire game in an arch rival school. The past 2 years, it went back and forth. 2 years ago, it was at Ringgold. Ringgold won. Last year was at Bell Vernon. Bell Vernon won by 1 point. This time it was at Ringgold, and Bell Vernon just annihilated Ringgold.
I think Bell Vernon, the biggest part that they stopped was Ringgold's rushing game with Brendan Small. He put up huge numbers the game before, and to stop him, that was the pivotal part because he couldn't get anything started. If he tried going to the left, the right, through the middle, they were all there and they attacked him.
Yeah, just exclamation point on this game. Bell Vernon, that game was just a big, hey, we're here, we're strong, and we're here to fight for that first place spot.
Definitely, and they did.
Yeah.
As we go now into the scoreboard for the Quad A Big 9 now. You see here, Greensburg-Salem took on Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson putting up the shutout, 49-0. And then West Mifflin taking on Albert Gallatin, coming with the victory, 49-8. We're not going to talk about any of those big blowouts as we continue on in the Big 9. Non-conference game, South Fayette took on Uniontown, and I feel sorry for Uniontown taking on South Fayette. 63-7, the final score for South Fayette. As we now go look at the standings for the Big 9 Quad A. Bell Vernon and Thomas Jefferson and West Mifflin. It's a 3-way tie for first place right here. 3-0 for Bell Vernon and Thomas Jefferson. West Mifflin just behind. Haven't played a conference game, as many conference games yet, at 2-0. Ringgold 2-1. Everyone else on the bottom. Trinity's 1-2. So it's Greensburg-Salem. But guys, who are you looking right now to take away the sole position of first place? Bell Vernon and Thomas Jefferson are really jostling for these positions.
Well, I think it's all going to come down to Bell Vernon and Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
But West Mifflin's still always going to be there. But if they're not second, they're going to be third. They can't beat TJ. I mean, they'll be a good game against Bell Vernon. I think what we need to focus more on is who wants that second place spot, because I think Thomas Jefferson's going to be up there, and it's going to be a battle between Bell Vernon and West Mifflin.
Yeah, I think my pick, I'm going to go with TJ. As you're saying, West Mifflin can't beat them, and Bell Vernon, those two teams, when they face off, that's going to be huge.
You're right.
So I think, though, Thomas Jefferson's going to take it.
Well, I can't wait for them to take on each other. That'll be coming up in a few weeks. As we move along to Single A now, the Tri-County South. Avella took on Mapletown in a very close game. Mapletown comes away with the victory 39-33. Fort Cherry took on Monessen and won 32-13. But Steve, talk about this Mapletown-Avella game.
Yeah, I mean, oh, wow. Dylan Rush, I mean, great last name for this, huh? Ran 42 times for 388 yards and scored 5 touchdowns and passed for another score for the Maples. And the Avella quarterback, Dalton Simonelli, completed 26 of 41 passes for 389 yards. I mean, both teams were absolutely on fire. And, of course, you saw in the score, 39-33. I mean, Mapletown just had that bigger edge.
And it's good to see Avella actually getting some good points on the board. We saw them play California, lost pretty big in that one. As we move along in the Tri-County South, West Green took on Carmichael's in a rival of Greene County. Carmichael's came away with the victory 28-6. As we continue on in Single A, we got non-conference for you here. Jeff Morgan took on Union, getting shut out 30-0. Imani Christian taking on California. They had 2 players ineligible, was Imani Christian. They still came away with the victory 26-14. And Danny, that's a big game for Imani Christian.
Yeah, and California led actually 14-6 at halftime. Just a monumental collapse as they were outscored 20-0 in the second half. And Jonathan Wood had 1 touchdown, but also 2 fumbles. So you really have to hang on to the ball if you want to make some scores. And as you saw on the screen there, getting shut out 20-0 is not good.
As we now look at the Tri-County South standings, 3 teams all tied for first place in conference. Fort Cherry, Mapletown, and Carmichael right now sitting at third. California's 1-1, Avella's 1-2, and as is Monessen. Jeff Morgan and West Green are all at the bottom with no wins. Now, asked about the Big Nine, who do you think will be in the first place? Guys, Fort Cherry, Mapletown looking pretty good so far. So does Carmichael's. Who do you think will take the first place spot as of right now?
Fort Cherry looks like they're pretty much just running it for now.
Yeah.
I'm waiting still for California to make their way up. We saw them when they took on Avella, and they looked strong with their running game with Coach East Ryan and Jonathan Wood. So I think that they're going to make a way up to the top 2.
You know, you have Carmichael's, Fort Cherry in California, that dark horse there. But Monessen, what are you doing? Yeah. Monessen, 1-3 in non-conference and 1-2 in conference. What are you doing? I mean, I wanted to stick with them, but I can't. I just give up on them. But I'm going to go Fort Cherry taking the chicken on this one.
I will have to go Fort Cherry as well. I think so far they're the better team right now. But that second place spot, it could be anybody right now. As we take a look now at the Century Conference in AA, as you see, Brownsville took on Chartiers Houston. Brownsville just can't get anything going right now. Chartiers Houston winning 58-20. Charleroi, they took on Frazier, and Frazier gave them a pretty big loss, 38-6. As Steve, this Frazier team getting a good win here against Charleroi.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Pierce, on fire. He had 167 yards and threw 4 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive for this Frazier team. And then, of course, Damon Lovis, he actually is the one that caught the touchdown pass in the 2015 high school roundup play of the year. He rushed 10 times for 129 yards and scored 1 touchdown to lead them for that big Frazier win.
As we continue on in the Century Conference, Bentworth taking on Burgettstown. And Burgettstown coming away with a big victory, 35-7 over Bentworth. As we continue on in AA, some non-conference here. Best Center taking on Springdale. Springdale just getting the victory, 14-13. Washington taking on South Park. Washington winning 34-7. But Danny, that Springdale Best Center game, huge win for Springdale.
Yeah, and Sammy Carey's 60-yard touchdown run in the second quarter was that deciding victory there. Carey's run tied the score, and place kicker Logan Panza kicked the deciding point. So just a great run there from Sammy Carey to put them over Best Center.
Huge win for Springdale there over Best Center. As we go into the standings for Century here. More ties for first place here. Washington, Chartiers, Houston, and Burgettstown all 2-0 in conference. Frazier at 2-1, Bentworth at 1-2. Best Center, Charleroi, and Brownsville all have 0 wins. And same question, guys. Washington looks really good. I think they may have the capability of staying in first place, but who gets second? Chartiers, Houston, Burgettstown, or maybe somebody different?
I mean, I'm going to go Shark Houston. I mean, they're such a good team, and in Burgettstown, we just don't know about, what can they do? I mean, one year they could be bad, one year they could be good, and then this just happens to be a pretty good year for them, and they're just very unpredictable right now to say if they're going to make it to that second place spot or not.
I think I'm going to follow suit and say Chartiers Houston as well. Spencer Turling, I think that he's just going to keep running this team, and I think that he's just going to. I mean, second place in a conference like this against a Washington team, it's
a victory. It's a victory, yeah.
So. Well, that's going to conclude our first segment here on High School Roundup. Stick around. We got South Union Township's highlights, another Big 9 game, AAA and 5A scores and standings, all that and more right here on High School Roundup on CUTV.
CUTV's High School Football Game of the Week. Springdale at Jeff Morgan. Avella at California. Bell Vernon at Ringgold. Greensburg Central Catholic at Charleroi. Waynesburg at Southmoreland. Baldwin at Connellsville. Beth Center at Brownsville. Frazier at Bentworth. Bishop Canavan at Carmichael. The longest running high school coverage in southwestern PA is on CUTV.
CUTV News Center is California University of Pennsylvania's award-winning student television newscast. Your source for live, local, late-breaking news. Forecast from the CalU Weather Center. The region's latest entertainment news. Vulcan sports highlights and regional scoreboards with television news coverage you can't get anywhere else. Watch it live Thursdays on CUTV and on demand. CUTV News Center, online all the time.
And welcome back to High School Roundup right here on CUTV. Got some South Union Township highlights coming up for you just now. South Union Township went to Laurel Highlands. They took on Trinity. And Steve, you have the highlights for this big lopsided victory for Trinity.
Yes, I do. And welcome to the Joey Caroli Show. I mean, he lit up the score sheet on this one. Let's get right into the highlights. It was a slow start here at Laurel Highlands. It was a home game for them. It started off slow with a 3-yard run by, of course, Joey Caroli. I mean, he lit it up. That would be the only score in the end of the first, 7-0 Trinity. And here we see another 9-yard run by Joey Caroli. Breaks the defense on that one. Didn't know where he wanted to go, but ends up in the end zone. And then here we have a longer run than 9 yards, way longer. He gets it, goes straight up that middle. Look at that line, just making that hole for Caroli there. He just goes right up in the sidelines, has all the green, and that will end the second quarter, halftime. 21-0 Trinity, and another dominant run by Joey Caroli, just busting through that line, going. He looks like he's going to be caught, but strides right in there. And that'll be the only touchdown of the third, 27-0 Trinity. And this one is impressive. Joey Caroli doesn't know what way he wants to go, but guess what? He finds his way to the end zone. He's going, has a whole bunch of Mustangs following him, and he ends up for a 39-yard touchdown. And this one, a huge run by Joey Caroli. Look at him go, a 64-yard run. Has Mustang right on his back, dives, and he almost gets him, but he doesn't. Then LH will finally get on the board with a 9-yard run by PJ Savini, and that would end the game. Trinity 40, LH 7. Holy Caroli, this was a good game, and Joey Caroli lit up the score sheet and had such an impressive game.
Yeah, definitely the player of the week for Trinity. Joey Caroli, just unreal what he can do. He's got that breakaway speed that we've seen from California's coach, East Ryan. Yeah. I'd like to see them go toe-to-toe in a matchup at some point. But that'll do it for the Big 9. You just saw there, Laurel Highlands losing to Trinity 40-7. We're going to go right now into the Interstate Conference. That's AAA for you here. Mount Pleasant took on McGuffey and fell 24-17. Southmoreland taking on Derry. Derry proving it again with a 41-7 victory. But Danny, this McGuffey team beat Mount Pleasant 24-17. That's big.
Yeah, and the Highlanders were outgained 406 yards to 121 yards, forced 4 fumbles and 2 fourth and goal stands to upset the Vikings. So that is huge for McGuffey beating Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant is a very good team, and an upset there at at McGuffey. As we continue along in the AAA Interstate Conference, Elizabeth Forward took on Waynesburg and shut them out 33-0. As we move along now, continuing in non-conference here, Washington already took on South Park, won 34-7. YOUGH took on Hopewell. Hopewell won 26-13. As we continue in the AAA Interstate standings here, Derry and McGuffey are tied for first 3-0 and 2-0. Mount Pleasant at 2-1, South Park and Elizabeth Forward 1-1. Everyone else has no wins. But this Derry team is for real, guys.
Yeah.
Just Tyler Baega for Derry. Huge player there, right, Danny?
Yeah, and even without him, their team is still performing at this high rate. And I think that they're going to take this conference.
Yeah, that's definitely a strong prediction right there. But it'll be interesting, this McGuffey team, can they keep it up after that big win against Mount Pleasant? And can Mount Pleasant bounce back from that huge loss to McGuffey? So all of these conferences are so close, and it's going to be so exciting. It's such a great season.
We'll see exactly how these conferences, come away now as we start moving forward towards playoffs. People really wanting to get those first place spots and get into those playoff spots. As we now take a look at our final conference here, the 5A, the Big East, where McKeesport took on Connellsville, and Connellsville still can't come away with a victory. They lost 41-0 to McKeesport. KISKI taking on Latrobe, winning 42-28 was KISKI. And Steve, the KISKI team, pretty good.
Yeah, this KISKI team, we've seen it in the past. Ross Grease rushed for 220 yards on 26 carries and scored 3 of KISKI's touchdowns. They were rushing touchdowns, and he actually returned an interception for 33 yards. So he's playing both ways there to lead KISKI to this victory.
As we continue on in the Big East, Plum taking on Franklin Regional. Franklin Regional winning 28-12. Gateway taking on Armstrong. Armstrong winning 35-21, and Danny, this Armstrong team is so good so far.
Yeah, and Armstrong is led by Zane Dudek, and he is that dude for Armstrong, leading the Whippeal with 18 touchdowns already on the season, and Armstrong cannot be stopped. When they have that guy in the backfield, making those plays pretty much how Corolla was running, and Caroli, sorry. So, it's just Armstrong, can't be stopped.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but you gotta love this Armstrong team because we had no idea. We didn't know who they were, and they're just winning and winning and winning. They're just so easy to like on this show.
We'll see if they continue their run here. As we go to the non-conference game, Penn Trafford coming with the victory, 26-7 over Woodland Hills. And Steve, you're not too happy about that one.
No, this was one of my big pick on here. Two great teams. Woodland Hills just falling short to Penn Trafford. LaFoon, he had 3 touchdowns for Penn Trafford, and he connected 15 of his 23 passes for 253 yards to, I'd say, upset this Woodland Hills team, because Woodland Hills constantly a powerhouse. I mean, same with Penn Trafford, but Woodland Hills so big and just so strong all of the time.
As you take a look here at the standings in 5A, another 3-way tie for first. KISKI 3-0, Armstrong and Penn Trafford at 2-0. And McKeesport and Gateway all at 2-1, Franklin Regional 1-2, Connellsville, Plum, and Latrobe all at 0-3. I can't wait to see this KISKI Armstrong team jostle for position here. Armstrong really good, and so is KISKI. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. As that'll conclude this segment of High School Roundup. We're going to take it to commercial break, but stay tuned. We have our top 3 plays, our upcoming schedules, and the pick'em. All that next, right here on High School Roundup on CUTV.
Since 1937, the Student Association Incorporated, known as SAI, has served the CalU student body by providing activities, programs, and services. Every enrolled student has the ability to take part in over 125 different clubs and organizations. Managing participation in every SAI activity is easy with OrgSync, a powerful tool for staying connected. Located 1 mile from campus, the SAI Farm has 94 acres of meeting and recreational space. SAI, it's your student association. For almost 30 years, CUTV has been the campus and community home for local news, sports, and entertainment. Broadcast in 100,000 homes in southwestern Pennsylvania, CUTV provides complete coverage of Vulcan sports as well as high school football coverage. Broadcast weekly live, CUTV News Center provides coverage of local and campus events, weekend weather, sports highlights, and feature stories. For more information on CUTV, check us out on the web, friend us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.
And welcome back to High School Roundup here on CUTV. We're going to take a look at the upcoming schedules for September 23rd. Starting off with the Tri-County South, Carmichael goes to Avella. California travels to Mapletown. And Jeff Morgan goes to West Green. In the non-conference game, Clairton takes on Monessen. Shenango takes on Fort Cherry. And in a game that I'm looking at, Jeff Morgan, West Green. I mean, both these teams are down in the bottom of the standings. That could be a really close game.
Well, I mean, yeah, you want to look at that one, a very close game, but you never know what the outcome. California and Mapletown. This is California's time to prove what they have in this conference. I mean, that's a huge game. Of course, Jeff Morgan and West Green, they're very close, very competitive, but I'm going to keep an eye out on that California and Mapletown.
And even, Steve, you said Monessen making a move back up, taking on Clairton.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
Sorry there.
The road just gets tougher for Monessen.
I mean, luckily, that's only a non-conference game.
Right.
As we move on to the Century Conference, Burgettstown takes on Chartiers Houston. Frazier travels to Washington. And Bentworth plays Beth Center. In a non-conference game that CUTV is doing, GCC at Charleroi, and then Mount Pleasant at Brownsville. We're going to talk about that GCC Charleroi game because that's a big game for CUTV. Yeah. It is live on PCN, Pennsylvania's cable network, so everyone that has cable in the state can take a look at that game and watch it. I know that's big for me and you, Danny, since we're all the way from the east.
That is huge, and it's a huge game for Charleroi too, trying to bounce back after a big defeat by Frazier. So see if they can bounce back and maybe get a win.
Yeah, and you guys are going to be calling that game, so it's going to be exciting to hear you guys on PCN.
Can't wait, it'll be my first time and Danny's first time live on PCN calling the game, so that'll be fun. AAA now, Interstate from September 23rd, South Park at Derry. Elizabeth Forward goes to McGuffey. YOUGH at Waynesburg. And then non-conference game, Southmoreland takes on Beaver Falls. And again, poor Brownsville taking on Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant is going to be angry.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Gary Smith, but this is not looking good for Brownsville. Mount Pleasant is going to be out for blood.
As we go now into the Quad A Big Nine, Albert Gallatin takes on Thomas Jefferson. Ringgold travels to our friends at South Union Township at Laurel Highlands. And that one, Ringgold's going to be mad, so I'm sorry, Laurel Highlands. West Mifflin is going to Uniontown. Bell Vernon takes on Greensburg-Salem. And in a non-conference game, Blackhawk takes on Trinity. And Danny, real quick, the Laurel Highlands-Ringgold game, Laurel Highlands needs to come away with a victory.
I'm excited to see these highlights too, because Ringgold's team, like you were saying, they're going to be angry taking on a Laurel Highlands team. So it's going to be kind of a big contest between these two teams and see if Ringgold can bounce back.
Well, we're going to take a look at our 5A schedule here. Franklin Regional takes on Armstrong. Big game there. Connellsville at Kiski. Latrobe at Penn Trafford. McKeesport's homecoming, it's going to be September 24th on a Saturday. Plum goes to McKeesport, and for non-conference, Gateway goes to Hampton. And now we have our Pick'em.
Oh, gosh.
Here is the standings for the Pick'em. Scott Majeski moving up to first place now in sole position, getting 4-2, the best record so far this week. He's 14-4. Gary and Clinton tied 3-3. They're 12-6. I fell 2-4 this week and am 12-6. Matt's went 2-4, 11-7. Zach, Danny, and Steve all 2-4 and 9-9. So we'll see how you guys do in the Pick'em right now. If we take a look at our first Pick'em game this week, Jeff Morgan at West Green. Steve, you're going West Green.
Look, I'm at the bottom now. I'm making some power moves here, man. I got to go. I went with all the underdogs. I mean, this has been a crazy season. Hopefully it can stay crazy and give me some W's.
Well, that'll be an interesting game. Both teams at the bottom of their standings as Bentworth takes on Beth Center. And it's a very split decision here, so this is going to be a big game. I picked best center, so did Danny and Clinton Scott. I feel good because Scott right now did a really good job last week.
Exactly.
So I think it's at best center. That could be a big game, and we'll see if best center come away with the victory. As we continue on, Burgettstown at Chartiers Houston. I'm the only one going with Burgettstown. Big power move for me. I think Chartiers Houston is good, but also Burgettstown had a big win against Bentworth this past week. So I think Burgettstown may come away with the victory, and I'm really hoping they do as well. As we continue on, South Park at Derry. Derry's had the season of their lives so far, but Steve and Gary, you're picking South Park. Really quick, why do you pick South Park?
Power moves, man. Power moves. I need I'm Jody High Roller over here. I have to, I have to get in there. Get these gritty wins here. So that's why I'm going with South Park.
And then up next in our pick'em, Blackhawk at Trinity. Danny and Steve, you're the only ones to pick Trinity. Real quick, Danny, why did you pick Trinity?
Joey Caroli.
Holy Caroli.
Joey Caroli. Sorry, I keep messing up his name. Excuse me. Joey Caroli, I think that he's just going to roll and just keep going and going and going.
It'll be interesting to see. We haven't ever seen Blackhawk yet
Right.
on this high school roundup that I know of. So it'll be interesting to see how they take on Trinity and Trinity going up against Blackhawk's defense. As Franklin Regional takes on Armstrong, everyone going with Armstrong here. We've seen Armstrong, will put lights out so far. It'll be interesting to see if Franklin Regional can hold with them in this game. As that'll be our pick'em for this week. We'll see how it plays out, and you'll want to watch next week as we see who goes around in the standings there. As we go to the top 3 plays, Danny, you have number 3.
Yeah, and Joey Caroli, a 10-yard run straight up the middle, or actually out to the outside, excuse me, just shaking off some defenders, switching lanes, and getting into the end zone.
Number 2, we have Joey Caroli again, lighting up your screen on High School Roundup. Doesn't know where he goes. Whoa, where am I going? That's right, I'm going to the touchdown for a 45-yard run. Like I said, this guy is a walking highlight.
And we're going to the Ringgold-Bell Vernon game. Mike Fine with a bullet pass to Logan Frogner, and what a play there. He had no business catching that ball. It was so fast. But that will not unseat Coach S. Ryan on this blue ribbon play. Just unbelievable run by Coach S. Ryan. Almost going out of bounds, shaking a defender to get all the way into the end zone for the touchdown. And we'll see if Coach S. Ryan can get upset and unseated later on in these high school roundups. As we take a look at our game of the week, we already mentioned Greensburg Central Catholic at Charleroi. Me and Danny talked about it. Steve, talk about this game for you on PCN.
Yeah, it's such a huge game. We've been doing these PCN games for a very long time.
17 years consecutively.
Yeah, and that's so impressive. And GCC and Charleroi, they're going to give us a great matchup here. It's going to be a great football game, a lot of fun. This is what the Whippy was all about.
I'm looking forward to it because of the PCN thing,
Right,
too.
yeah.
Because, that's big. Our first times, as you said, I didn't even know that it was your first time as well. So it'll be a little bit of a jittery little game for us.
We'll call it just like
Guys will
we
do
usually
fine.
do.
Yeah, you can.
We can't wait for the PCN game. That's coming up this Friday. We'll also stick around because Laurel Highlands is taking on Ringgold, and that should be some good highlights there. So you'll want to make sure you follow High School Roundup on CUTV. That's going to do it for us here at High School Roundup on this wonderful television show. If you want to tweet at us, like I always say, you can do so at CUTV_PA, hashtag HSR 2016. Tweet us your picks if you want for our pick'em game. Go back, watch the episode. It'll be on YouTube on CUTV Sports 1. And tweet at us. Tweet us your picks. And if you have pictures from the games you went to, tweet us the pictures. We'll maybe put them on the show. You never know. So stick around for next week's episode of High School Roundup. You're watching, and you have watched High School Roundup on CUTV. I'm Anthony D'Agostino again. These guys were Danny Beck and Stephen Ruffing. Thanks again to the crew. See you next time right here on CUTV.